Well, we got our growing rack set up. Now all we have to do is get our seeds planted for our 2022 garden season. Let's go. All right, so what we use here at the Rockin' Seeds to start our seeds is we got like a little plastic tray here. We got little, I think these are 3 or 4 inch pots, and that's what we're gonna start them in. But we got just an empty bucket that we're gonna put some dirt in. So this is like a potting soil mixture. A farmer friend of mine told me to get this. He really loves it. It's something that he uses on his farm, and he says it does a great job. And one bag will fill about 105 of those little pots. So hopefully this will be enough for all the ones that we need today. But the soil is a little dry, so we're gonna get it mixed in here, put some water, get it wet. So then when we're ready to plant, we're ready to go. All right, now since we got the soil out of the bag, or at least partially out of the bag, you can see it's super fine. And that's one of the reasons why I got some of this and why it's so good for seedlings. Those little seeds can start popping roots, and the roots have no issues getting through this material. And the best thing is this already has some nutrients mixed into it. In the past, we've had to mix nutrients into our potting mix. This is already baked and ready to go. So all we have to do here is just water it in. And I don't know if you saw our last video when we were talking about setting this up. We are using a watering agent. So this is a saponin extract. It's kind of like a soap, and it makes it kind of, when you kind of mix it up, the water is kind of sudsy. But essentially what this is just like an eighth of a teaspoon into a gallon of water. Just mix that up. And you can see it's a little sudsy. Since this is such a big container, I'm just going to kind of pour it in here and then mix it up by hand. It probably won't need too much. But you can see even after dumping that water, it's still pretty dry. You just want to get it enough to where you can kind of clump it in your hand and it stays there. Kind of like that, but we needed all that in that. That degree. Make sure this is all mixed up. Now you can kind of really see how it's kind of sudsy. That's what you're looking for. Now, one thing I think is very, very important. So before you start actually putting soil in these pots and seeds in those pots, is to actually, you kind of have to have a plan. And for Mars and I, we're big list takers and planners. We kind of have to have things kind of set up just because, not only just because that's just the type of people we are, but with our stuff outside of the homestead with work, it just makes it easier for us. So that's how we feel like we have to do things. So earlier in the year, we sat down and kind of looked at like the space we have in the garden, kind of what we thought we wanted to grow this year versus last year and other years. And so we came up with what we needed, and we keep a little journal so we can kind of look back at last year, the year before, and kind of see what we thought did well and didn't do well, something that's very helpful. So I think it was like actually Super Bowl Sunday. I sat down and looked through all the seeds that we had, and I noticed which ones we needed extras of and which ones we have plenty of, or ones we aren't going to plant anymore. We kind of set them aside. So I went through all of those, and we came up with the list, and then I ordered them, we got them, and now we kind of look back at I looked at all those seeds and kind of looked at when we were going to start planting these outdoors, right? So we're going to plant them that first weekend of May. So I backed everything back, and today is the day that 8 to 12 weeks or whatever it was. So I think I kind of shoot that right in the middle. So today we're going to do tomatoes and peppers. Next week we're going to do some lettuces. And then the rest of the garden is just going to be sowed once we actually get into the growing season come May. That's when the cucumbers, the cantaloupe, and beans and some of the other stuff's going to go in at that point. So there you go. So have a plan and work your plan. It's going to help you out tremendously. All right, so in that prepping stage or in that planning stage, not only do we say that we want to grow jalapenos or tomatoes or whatever, we actually kind of look at our space in our garden and say, okay, we want to plant, 2 of these tomato plants. We want to plant 4 jalapeno plants because we eat a lot of jalapenos through the year. So with that, let's say we're going to do 4 jalapeno plants, and that's how many we're going to actually want in the ground. So just to kind of make sure that our chances are great that we have 4 really good solid plants, what we're going to do is actually plant 8 seedlings, and in each one of these pots we're actually going to put 2 seeds just to make sure, just to kind of double down a little bit. And so we'll have double the amount of plants we need plus the double amount of seeds in each one of those pots that we need, just to make sure that we do have a good solid plant. And if both seeds pop up, we'll kind of just pull out the one that's the least healthy, or the lesser of the 2. And then at the end of the season, once these things are ready to go in the ground, if we have 8 of them that are really good, don't feel like they're going to go to waste. We'll give them away to our friends and family or anybody local or that kind of stuff, and they will not go to waste. So they're all good. So let's get these things filled up and get this thing rolling. Okay, so we have our pots filled with our soil. Now these are going to be jalapenos, so depending on the different types of plants, they're going to have a recommended, the seed manufacturer, the seed grower, whatever the company, is going to have some sort of a seed depth that it needs to be. So this is a 1/4 inch per these seeds here. So what's really good to use is like a pencil eraser that's about a 1/4 inch. So I can just go in here, kind of make 2 little holes right there. And that's where our seeds are going to go. And remember, we're keeping these pretty close to the center because we still want the plants to be in the center even after we pull one. We've done it where we've kind of separated them out and put them on the edge, and then plants just kind of look weird in the pot. So we prefer to do it in the middle. There's the little seeds. Oh. That one maybe got 2 in it. There we go. All right, so now since we've got all the seeds in there, we just kind of pat down the seeds a little bit. Just kind of cover them up. We put in a little whatever these are called, a little marker to show what it is. And then once we do that, then I'll usually come back through, and I filled this up with the remaining water that we had when we did this water that had the wetting agent in it. Let me see how strong this is shooting out. There we go. So one thing good about this type of water, you can kind of set it to how hard you want it to come out or not. And not soaking it, just giving it enough water, especially at front. You just want to have really good contact with the seed and soil. So when it's ready for that thing to germinate, it's ready to germinate. So I'm going to get finished doing the rest of these, and then we'll get these on the heating mats and under the lights. Well, we got all of our tomatoes and peppers seeds started. We got them all planted. We have 64 of them here. So when it goes out there, we'll only need about half of those. But we just want to make sure that we have enough viable plants to where we're not scrambling at the end of the time we need to get these planted. But let's just say that something horrible goes wrong. We're not going to sweat it. We'll just go to a box store, get some plants, and plant them. So we try to do this. We try to get prepared and ready to go because we just like it from start to finish. But we're not going to let that derail us. So hopefully it doesn't derail you guys. And hey, make sure that you're subscribing to our channel. Make sure that you ring that bell so you get notified every time we put out a video. Because we're going to have a lot more videos coming out, especially about gardening. We got some super soil mixtures we got to mix up, get the garden ready for the next coming season here. And of course, we'll give you guys video after video on how these things are going and all the different processes that we have between here and the time we plant, and then from the plant until we harvest, and then from a harvest to how we preserve it, and then all those kind of fun things in between there. So make sure you guys come back. We really do appreciate you guys coming back, watching our videos all the way to the end. If you've made it, thank you. And of course, from our homestead to yours, have a blessed day, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.